It is overtime here again on Old Favorite Friday, discussing incredible classic beers. And it's interesting because I've done Breakfast Stout from Founders, I've done Canadian Breakfast Stout from Founders, but I've yet to do the Kentucky Breakfast Stout, the OG, one of the beers that really sparked off the pastry stout movement. And one of the reasons is that I have not been able to find regular KBS anywhere down here for the last several years, at least since I've been doing Old Favorite Friday. I've seen variations, some of the double oak versions, but I wanted to do the OG. I wanted to do the actual KBS for this. And I wandered into a local liquor store and found a KBS from 2019. You probably can't read that back there, but it's from 2019. This is a almost 7-year-old beer that I found on the shelves. And what is very important to understand is a beer like this can stand up to that kind of age. You can cellar this beer, and you can really taste the difference as it kind of develops over time. This is Canadian Breakfast Stout. This is aged in bourbon barrels. It has coffee, it has cocoa nibs. So those are the flavors that you're getting out of this. What happens with this beer as it ages is some of the sweetness comes out because some of the bitterness kind of fades into the background. But one of the things it really does is it rounds off kind of the alcoholic edge, the burn, the heat of the beer, where it gets rounded over the years and really well integrates into the beer. And all those flavors of the chocolate and the coffee tend to meld. No one of them dominates the other. Listen, if I was drinking this fresh, I would love absolutely every aspect of it. I love being able to point out a beer like this that ages so well, especially since we, as a Belgian-inspired brewery at our heart, do so many beers that are bottle conditioned that can age just like this, and sometimes utilize these kind of adjunct ingredients or barrel aging. Yeah, if you've had this beer before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is rich, flavorful, just the right amount of sweetness, well balanced. That bourbon doesn't dominate. If you haven't had it before, you really owe it to yourself. This is, like I said, one of the beers that sparked off the entire pastry stout movement. And to this day, I still think one of the best representations of it because it does not go too hard in one direction. And then when you talk about the different variants that they do, they're all delicious, the ones that I've had. And you know, this one is no exception. KBS is one of the GOATs for a very good reason. If you have the luxury of finding this in your local area, pick one up for Old Favorite Friday. If you have the luxury of finding a 7 or 8-year-old KBS on the store shelf somewhere, gobble those things up. They're as good as gold. Food pairings with a beer like this, because the flavors are so dominant, you gotta have something with some impact, with some richness. I'm gonna go with a blue cheese crusted filet mignon, because the sweetness and the richness needs to be kind of balanced out of that blue cheese. But more importantly, it can kind of mute some of the funkiness of a blue cheese, which I love. But in muting that, it's going to bring out those like underlying fruity flavors from like the fig and the raisin that are in here. It's gonna bring that out of the cheese. It's gonna match up power for power as far as the richness on your tongue. And then the bitterness of this beer, that coffee bitterness, the espresso bitterness in the back end, is going to balance it out really well. That goes really well with cutting kind of the fat of the cheese itself. I think it would be a great pairing. I'd love to try it. I've got 3 more bottles, so maybe I'll do that this weekend as well. But thank you guys very much for joining us as always. Please go on to the rest of our channel and see all the incredible videos about beers just like this that help to build the craft beer market in the United States and all the way around the world. Thank you guys. Cheers.